So there's plenty of ways of abusing game mechanics in World of Warships, and today I want to show you a very special one to do with concealment, spotting, and island cover. But before we get into that, I'm playing a Salem, and I'm pushing in very aggressively. This build is not optimal, but it's very fun. It's this max DPM build that I tend to go for every once in a while. It's pretty hilarious when it works. Oftentimes it does not. It involves giving us incredibly bad concealment. It's almost to our gun range, that's how bad it is. But it takes advantage of a few perks that give us better reload because of that. And of course, we're taking reload mod here as well. Salem, unlike the Des Moines, we have a super heal. So that's going to help us stay alive in some of these situations where we're going to be spotted and shot at much more than a typical Des Moines would. Not the great start for us, considering the Holland just ate a bunch of torps. I'm shooting AP at a DD for some reason. Not sure why I started with that. But this is always going to be a really good position to take in a Salem if you can get here. This is really, really strong. It's going to be very difficult for the enemy team to push around this cap. They're really not going to be able to get this cap all that easily. And of course, these islands we can farm over a little bit, but it's going to be a little bit tricky considering they're very steep islands, so they're not going to be the easiest things in the world. I'm focusing on the DD when I can. He's doing a lot of burst fire, which is good for me, I guess. It means there's a lot of downtime. His DPM is severely limited then. Of course, we do need to be careful of these battleships. The GK misses our bow. He can only pen or overmatch our bow. 30mm side plating is enough to auto bounce him. But we're going to reverse back a little bit. I did not expect to see a GK and a Kremlin out here. I was hoping that it would be a lot less people, and that way I could actually push around and get some work done. I'm realizing now I'm going to probably be staying here for most of the game, just holding these guys back. We do have to be careful, though, of that Yamato or anyone in the enemy spawn if we reverse out too far in a position like that. So that's always something that you have to keep in mind, that you don't want to just reverse out and give a free flat broadside. Our Ohio is pushing up a little bit. I definitely want to support him so without really giving up my entire ship. Playing around islands like this can be a little bit tricky to know when you should be playing more aggressive, trying to take some risks, or playing safe. Here I just want to take the DD a little bit out of the equation, hoping that he'll run away a little bit more, giving our Ohio time to get up to this island cover. Because he's dying relatively quickly, I would say. Our Holland is going to come around the other side of the island and provide us some spotting, which will be really nice. But what's this gimmick? What's this abuse of game mechanics that I'm talking about? Well, where do you get spotted on your ship? Do you know? It's actually the midpoint of your ship, and it's one of the higher masts, or potentially the bridge, is where you're getting spotted from in this game. It's one point. So that means if you find an island tall enough to cover that one tall point on the middle of your ship, you can poke your nose out around a really steep cliff like this and shoot your guns and not be detected at all. So we're going to farm a Kremlin now, and we're not going to get spotted. That is the gimmick here, the game mechanic that is a little bit broken. You can't use this on very many islands, though. Most of them, you know, they're going to have sandbars or beaches or whatever. The islands are going to slope nicely into the ocean, and then you will be spotted doing something like this. But if you can find a cliff, it works pretty well. Yeah, this one is a bit cursed, but hey, I'll take it. In a situation like this, I'd rather be doing this than walking out into a Kremlin and a Kerr first. And this way, we're at least going to be doing some damage. Double fire right away. The DPM is pretty insane on this build. So if we can get into a position where we can farm for free, with a little bit of game mechanic abuse, I'll take it. We're going to do a ton of damage to this Kremlin as he's pushing in. And sure, there's a GK pushing up on us, but I can just reverse very quickly. This build is running propulsion mod, so we're going to reverse out of here relatively easily. Another double fire on that Kremlin there. Already up to 75,000 damage and counting. So if they do push around on us, I have an Ohio here to back me up. This is the other thing that is really strong about the Salem is the armor piercing at close range. For some reason, we're hitting the lower belt. I'm trying to aim for the upper belt here. Dispersion not cooperating. But there you go, 6,000 damage into the upper belt there. Feels pretty good. 4,000 damage. And you're eating that every 4 seconds. That adds up quick. And if we hit the stern there in the right spot, nearly 8,000 damage into an unsaturated part of the ship. That is a lot of damage very quickly. 120k pretty much right away. And then we can swap back to the HE, of course. I'll show you the build at the end. It is not for the faint of heart. It's a very difficult build to run, but it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun, I gotta say. So hopefully we can take out this Kerr first and then deal with this Kremlin. Our Ohio being totally bowing here means the secondaries really aren't working all that much. And I guess the concern here would be just Kremlin coming in for the ram. So I'm going to try and take him out before then. Sticking with armor or high explosive here for a little bit, trying to get some fires, do some good damage that way. But I swapped to the AP. This is one of the mistakes I make here. There's a couple mistakes that you're going to see very shortly. But a high pressure situation, mistakes definitely happen. Armor piercing here, not actually doing good damage. I was hoping that the improved pen angles would be enough, because they are pretty improved. But it wasn't enough, and so the Kremlin gets the ram off. I did do a good job of using my heal early, though, allowing me to survive that Kremlin salvo. And here's the other mistake. I think this one should be pretty obvious. Yeah, you don't want to reverse out flat broadside and to a Yamato. So 145k, quick little game here for you. And really just wanted to show off that little bit of game mechanic abuse. As for the build that I was running here, I have Halsey combined with this monstrosity. We're getting 8% better reload thanks to our terrible concealment. Our HE is doing much more damage here, which also makes our concealment worse, giving us easier to activate 8% reload. AR, always useful. Heavy AP shells even, when we're using our armor piercing, do a little bit more damage. Taking survivability expert over superintendent here. Basically, the way the Salem super heal works is that it doesn't heal back any heavy damage very well at all. So on a Minotaur, you're going to heal back a lot of the Citadel damage, torpedo damage you take. Salem, you don't. You really only heal back that light damage, so some HE shells, a lot of fires and floods, you can heal all of that back, but it means you're not getting to your final heal and you're not maximizing the use out of it. So I'm not actually taking Superintendent here. Because of that, it's a very specific build. Not necessarily one that I would recommend, but if you want to try it, here it is. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun if you're willing to go all in for it. Reload mod, I'm taking steering gears mod 2. No concealment at all here. It's a pretty busted build, if you can make it work. Other than that, there are a few other game mechanics that I can point to. I guess the simplest one is the way the aiming system works, if you're wondering why slowing down and turning out always seems to work for dodging shells, because the auto-aiming system only predicts you go in a straight line. So if you're in a cruiser, you slow down and turn out, you're almost guaranteed that the battleship shells will land short. There's a few others, but really just had to show you guys this spotting one around islands. It's pretty hilarious, especially in a ship like the Salem. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a great rest of your day.